Listen, sometimes lies don't just live in whispers or shady tabloids. No, sometimes they sit proudly in gold letters, plastered on official websites, carved into royal records, and repeated to millions as fact. And for years, we all believed it. The world was told that Meghan Markle, yes, the actress, the activist, the Duchess herself, was this polished, perfect graduate of Northwestern University, not just with one degree, but with two. International Relations and Theater, double major, double impressive, double classy. It sounded glamorous, right? Exactly what you'd expect from someone stepping into royalty. The kind of resume that makes you think, wow, she was destined for this. But then, oh honey, Northwestern University stepped in with receipts. And let me tell you, they didn't just throw shade, they threw the whole damn tree. They said flat out that degree doesn't even exist. Not she didn't finish, not she dropped a subject, number. They said it was never even offered. So how in the world did this magical, impossible degree get stamped on Buckingham Palace's official biography? Who let that happen? Who thought they could fool everyone with a lie that a single email could destroy? Because guess what? One email was all it took. And this isn't just about Meghan anymore. This is about the royal institution, one of the most powerful PR machines on earth, standing behind a claim so fake it's embarrassing. What starts as a cute academic exaggeration spirals into a full-blown scandal that makes you question the monarchy itself. The biography that fooled millions. Let's roll it back. On the official royal family website, yes, the one funded by taxpayer money, the Duchess of Sussex's biography proudly declared, the Duchess went on to double major in theater and international relations at Northwestern University, graduating in 2003 with a dual degree. Sounds neat, right? Except here's the kicker. Northwestern has never offered such a degree. When researchers reached out to the admissions office, the answer came back instantly, unequivocal, crystal clear. No such program exists. So let's stop right there. That line on the monarchy's website wasn't just a tiny typo. It was a total fabrication, sitting in an official royal archive as if it were gospel truth, and millions of people, including historians, journalists, and everyday fans, read it, quoted it, and believed it. And if Buckingham Palace can't get something as basic as a college degree, right? What else in those royal biographies is standing on quicksand? A fairy tale education that never happened. The royal page painted Meghan's college years like a Disney movie. 2 majors, 6 years of French, a glamorous internship at the U.S. Embassy in Buenos Aires. Oh, and Spanish fluency thrown in for extra sparkle. She was written as this worldly, sophisticated, cultured queen in the making. But the truth? The institution that supposedly gave her those credentials says none of it adds up. Meghan attended Northwestern from 1999 to 2003, 4 years, and during that time she allegedly completed a dual degree. But Northwestern's own rules blow this claim to pieces. Dual degrees? They take at least 5 years, and they're only allowed for certain combos, like communications and engineering or communications and music. Theater and international relations? Forget it. They're from 2 completely separate schools with different requirements, advisors, even campuses. The official email response from January 2024 literally spelled it out. It is not possible to double major in international studies and theater. Period. End of discussion. So if the university never offered it, Meghan Markle didn't just bend the truth. She built a castle of lies on a foundation that never existed. And still, that fake degree sits proudly in the monarchy's biography like it's carved in stone. Not just a mistake, a choice. Think about it. This isn't some tabloid rumor floating around. This is an official government record backed by palace staff, stamped with taxpayer trust. And yet, it's wrong. Not kind of wrong. Not oops typo wrong. But this whole thing is fictional wrong. That's why this stops being just about Meghan. The royal website isn't some fangirl blog. It's the official voice of the crown. Every biography, every word goes through layers of staff and oversight. It represents the face of royal legitimacy. And despite facts being so easy to check, they chose to keep this fake story alive. It wasn't a slip, it was a choice, and this is where the illusion starts cracking. Because if they're willing to lie about something as basic as a degree, what else are they glossing over in those biographies? What else is propped up with fairy dust instead of facts? Now let's talk about that U.S. Embassy internship in Buenos Aires. Oh, the way the royal biography sells it, like Meghan was some glamorous young diplomat sipping coffee with ambassadors, learning Spanish by osmosis, and strutting through Argentina like she was on a movie set. Sounds chic, right? But reality? Not so much. People who've actually worked inside embassies will tell you internships are paperwork, phone calls, and sorting through endless cables. It's not mingling at high-level events. It's staplers, not strategy, and interns are not wandering the streets practicing Spanish with locals. They're confined, supervised, and tucked away for security reasons. So how fluent could Meghan have become in Spanish during 5 weeks of desk duty surrounded by English-speaking staff? Be real, not fluent, not even close. Diplomats train for 2 full years to gain language proficiency. Yet we're supposed to believe Meghan Markle turned into a Spanish-speaking queen in 5 weeks? Impossible. But guess what? Buckingham Palace printed it anyway. They didn't just echo Meghan's claims, they legitimized them. They polished this little college internship into the jewel of her worldly, cultured persona. And that's the problem. This wasn't an innocent mistake, it was a carefully constructed myth. The French that disappeared overnight, and then there's French. Oh, the royal biography swore Meghan studied French for 6 years. 6! Enough to convince anyone she was some kind of linguistic prodigy. But let's not forget, Northwestern's International Studies program doesn't play games. It requires 3 foreign languages, each studied to real fluency levels. Not dabbling, not casual classes, certified proficiency. And here's the punchline. Meghan herself admitted in an interview that she had forgotten most of her French. She laughed it off, casual as ever. But think about it. If you had actually reached fluency for your degree, would you just forget it? Number. You don't lose 3 tested, certified languages unless you never studied them to that level in the first place. So once again, reality doesn't match the narrative. On paper, Meghan, the polished, multilingual intellectual. In truth, a woman who maybe took some classes, learned some basics, and forgot them like the rest of us forget high school math. Where the story totally collapses. Here's the big one, the degree itself. This supposed dual major in theater and international relations. On the surface, it looks impressive, but when you peek under the hood, it's academically impossible. Northwestern separates its programs into different schools: theater, School of Communication, International Studies, Weinberg College of Arts and Sciences, entirely different campuses, advisors, requirements, credits earned in one don't count in the other. So anyone trying to do both would essentially be taking 2 full degrees simultaneously, 4 years each, which means a minimum of 5 years to finish, if not more. Meghan was there for 4. The math simply doesn't add up. So the silence around her graduation becomes its own kind of evidence. Not proof she didn't graduate, but proof that the version we were sold is off. Way off. To really understand how this illusion held up for so long, you've got to dig into the little truths people don't like to talk about, like Meghan's father, Thomas Markle. He was the one footing the bill for her schooling. From the Little Red Schoolhouse to her private high school, Immaculate Heart, all the way to Northwestern. Not Doria Ragland, not some scholarship. Thomas paid. That's fact. But funny how that detail rarely gets airtime when Meghan talks about her past. Why? Because it doesn't fit the version of the story she prefers. The self-made woman narrative. The I pulled myself up against all odds tale. Admitting dad paid undercuts the myth. And once you see that pattern, you start noticing it everywhere. Embellished degrees, exaggerated language skills, the mysteriously missing graduation photos. Each piece could be brushed off as forgetfulness or PR gloss, but together they form a clear picture. A picture of someone curating a new version of themselves, one polished enough to survive Hollywood and shiny enough to step into royalty. Because let's be real, Meghan's greatest role wasn't Rachel on Suits. It was Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex. And that role required rewriting her own script. Lies have a way of aging badly. Here's the haunting part. When Northwestern was contacted, their response wasn't ambiguous. It wasn't careful. It wasn't diplomatic. It was brutal honesty. It is not possible to double major in international studies and theater. That's it. Game over. End of myth. Maybe Meghan thought no one would ever check. Maybe the palace assumed the public wouldn't care. But lies? Lies don't age well. They rot. They sit in archives until someone curious comes along and asks the right question. And then, poof, the illusion collapses. And this wasn't some gossip blog tearing her down. This was Northwestern University, the very place she claimed gave her that degree, shutting it down in black and white. No dual degree, no international relations program, no 5-week Spanish miracle, no certified fluency in French, just a plain communications degree with theater and an uncomfortable silence where the fairy tale used to be. Why this scandal hits harder? So why does this matter? Who cares if Meghan padded her resume a little? Don't celebrities do that all the time? Here's the difference. This wasn't just an actress fluffing her bio. This was the British monarchy taking those claims and stamping them as fact, turning personal embellishments into official history, broadcasting them on a government-backed website as truth. That's not harmless, that's dangerous. Because if the Crown is willing to play loose with facts here, where else are they doing it? If they'd rather protect image than truth, what does that say about the rest of the royal narrative? It's not just Meghan's credibility at stake, it's the monarchy's. An institution that's supposed to symbolize tradition, dignity, and truthfulness, exposed as complicit in maintaining a lie. And if they lied about this, what else is hidden behind polished palace statements? The shadow that never leaves. So here we are. Meghan Markle's degree scandal might sound small compared to royal divorces, affairs, or palace drama, but sometimes it's the small cracks that reveal the rot beneath. Because in the end, this wasn't just about a degree, it was about trust. The trust of millions who looked at that biography and believed it. The trust of historians who thought they were recording fact, not fiction. The trust of taxpayers who fund the palace's communications. And that trust was broken. The missing graduation photos, the impossible dual degree, the 5-week Spanish fairy tale, the forgotten French, the father erased from the story. Piece by piece, the illusion collapsed, until all that's left is the uncomfortable truth. Meghan Markle's official story was never about accuracy. It was about image. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Final word, the scandal that sticks. So next time you read a royal biography, remember this story. Remember how something as simple as a college degree, a detail so easy to check, unraveled into a full-blown scandal. Because sometimes the truth isn't buried deep, sometimes it's hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to notice. And once you notice, it changes everything.